Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look!
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Everyone, welcome back once again. Dr. Homebrew live at the Hop Grenade in Concord, Califerne. Did I say that right, Califerne?
Yes, that's the new name for the state. We've succeeded and pronounced it that way from now on.
We have succeeded. I'm glad you looked at that. Oh.
Succeeded?
Oh. Isn't that those nuts like up in like Jefferson County or something like that, where they just want to be, you know, the 5 people in a 100-mile radius that share a barn? No. Hang on a second.
Oh. There? Yeah, okay. Actually, no, it's the nuts in Silicon Valley who sponsored that bill. They want to secede from the rest of the state so they can keep all their tax money themselves.
Oh, why
But
not?
I heard Justin got the bill modified so we get our own state here around the Hop Grenade.
Oh, that's good.
Our own little province here.
Micro
there you
state.
go.
Right, the state of beer.
Yeah, that'd be good. Just Toto Santos Square.
Right.
That'd be cool. I'd like to live outside of it so I don't have to pay taxes to support it, but I would come and enjoy it.
They probably won't stop you at the border crossing. They might go on out, but not coming in.
Right.
The drunk tax is pretty heavy, though. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to pay as soon as you come in. Just shell out all your money, empty your pockets.
That's all right. I can afford it. After all, I do podcast radio for a living.
That's right.
Can't fake that. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. It is Dr. Homebrew.
You could try to fake it.
You can try to fake it, but you can't. That's
faking
the thing.
it right now.
You can't do it. Stop faking it. Stop it. Because you can't do it. If you're listening live, by the way, or if for whatever reason you want to dig through the archives and watch us do this show, we do not have a live stream up right now. Justin is officially in Denver for the Great American Beer Festival, and he has that computer with him. So,
good thing I didn't post that.
Right. Don't look. Oh, Bebo now does our advanced live stream pages, and she's like, and I told her that. I was like, look, so you don't have to come in tonight because there's no camera for you to switch. She goes, mother. This was the one time I did it in advance and to let everybody know we don't have it. So I laughed at her pretty hard.
You made her waste her time for nothing. And now she hates you.
It's all right. I'm used to it.
It's nothing new.
Yeah. So don't look for us on Livestream. But normally, if you want to watch our show, you can head over to new.livestream.com/Brewing Network or The Brewing Network or something like that. And find us, search The Brewing Network, search Dr. Homebrew, and everything is good.
Just ignore all those other shows on there. Oh, wait. No, you might listen to some of them, too.
Yeah, maybe. But, check out ours first. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, 5 Star. What's this? I'm getting past a note. We're live. We're good? Oh, thanks, Phil. Justin has new... Yes. What do you need?
You might need to want to raise your mic a bit.
I do?
Maybe. I don't know. You're not coming through very loud.
I'm not?
Which is amazing because you're actually pretty loud in person.
How's this?
That's better.
Is it better?
You're resonant now.
All right.
Perfect.
Cool. While we were away, Justin got some new computers. And so there's all sorts of new software and all sorts of new stuff for me to learn because life isn't hard enough for me. I need to be thrown new stuff every now and then.
You got to learn where to put those new sliders.
I know,
made
right?
us judge
and
all
we're not talking White Castle here.
Beers,
right?
And we judged all the beers in advance while he was learning about this stuff.
Yeah, I got my notes. I got my 2 pages of notes. Trying to figure stuff out.
Thanks, JP.
Maybe it's too loud in my headphones and not loud. Whatever. Anyway,
That could be.
Critical mass in the headphones.
It's fine.
Anyways.
Just another day. Just another day at the office, everybody. That's all it is. Before we get started, let's thank our sponsor, 5 Star Chemicals.
Thank you.
You can get all of your cleaning needs met from 5starchemicals.com. If you're a brewer of any length of time, you're familiar with 5-Star, I'm sure, even though maybe you don't know about it. They do PPW, they do Star Sand, Sandy Clean, IOStar, you name it. If it's a high-quality cleaning and sanitizing chemical, 5-Star is usually behind it. So if you're not familiar with them, head over to your local homebrew shop, or you can find them online, 5starchemicals.com, and check them out, check their products out. Really great bunch of people. We had one of the guys, I think his name was Charlie, years ago on the session. That guy is a wealth of knowledge. It was really great. They know their stuff. They know how to clean. They know how to sanitize. And they know that you can't do those things at the same time. You have to clean first before you sanitize. So check those folks out.
Another way you can get a hold of some of their products is just to come on our show.
Yes, if you come on our show, every guest of Dr. Homebrew will receive a thank you pack from 5-Star Chemicals. That's right, 5starchemicals.com. Although I did get a note. Some guy didn't get his.
Uh-oh.
He's like, I don't want to bitch, but I'm going to bitch. All right.
Okay. I didn't get mine yet. I want one, too.
You should get one. You've been on the show for a long time.
1 tablespoon of PPW left at home. And I've got kegs to clean, man.
I need to do that. So I don't really brew during the summer. I shut down because it's hot and I don't like doing things, just in general. But I need to run through all of my kegs, and that's what I want to do. Get a free Saturday or Sunday and just strip all of my kegs, rebuild them all, clean them, sanitize them, pressurize them, and have them, and see how long that lasts. With a goal of, once one blows, to clean it and sanitize it and then fill it and have it back so I can just pull clean ones during kegging, but that never happened.
Get a rotation going.
That's how it works.
I've never been able to do that. I did it once.
You've never done that.
I did it once. I was able to.
You can do it. You
need to get out of the studio more often, JP.
Yeah.
Start brewing some beer.
Maybe.
Go home, brew your beer.
Whip ya. Go.
Just clean your kegs.
I have no more beer at the house. I want to brew some more beer, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to brew. I mean, I want to have beer. I want to have homebrew at the house. I want to have a variety of beers that I don't have to pay for, but I don't feel like brewing. I'm
partner up with someone with a 10-gallon system and make them do all.
I have a 10-gallon system.
Steal their beer. Or it's cider season. Make cider a lot easier.
Warren and I usually make cider together, and I was talking to him the other day. He goes, I don't really feel like I'm into it now. I don't have the room. What do you mean you don't have the room? You had the room last year. Well, I don't want... this is how he talks. I don't want... all my stuff taken up by cider. I want to brew some more beer. Really? Selfish?
Well, you've got the space.
I do.
Just do it. Just go to the store. Buy some organic apple juice if you can't get cider.
Maybe.
Can't get apples.
No.
I know people getting apples. I'll hook you up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'd be in. That would be better, like getting it on a group buy, because I don't want to do like 30 gallons or something like that.
No, my club's doing one. A couple weeks.
All right. Does your club make good cider?
We're pitching in for apples and juice, and you take it home, do what you want with it.
On Tuesday?
So you're making... Right. No, it's not Tuesday.
Okay.
A couple weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you just said Tuesday. You're confusing me.
Yeah.
I don't think you said Tuesday.
What did you say?
A couple of weeks.
I'm going to rewind.
You take it home.
Where's the tape?
Tuesday.
We press
See? I rewound the tape. You just heard it.
Only when you talk backwards does it say Tuesday.
You're probably right.
We could do a Dr. Homebrew brewing session. Just the three of us, man.
Just three of us.
Each take three and a third gallons home from JP's 10-gallon system.
That'd be a comedy of errors.
Okay, let me get through this, and then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to jump into our guest here. So in case you are new or unfamiliar with Dr. Homebrew, which our first show I just found out was back in month 5 of last year. So we're almost a year and a half old. It's pretty good.
Almost ready for our terrible 2s.
This is our 34th. We've been on terrible 1s.
Yeah.
Did we get any Emmys or anything?
It's our 34th show. There's like a handful of podcast awards. I'm sure we're in the top running for something.
I'm sure.
Something.
I mean, why wouldn't we?
Well, didn't we get like the most earnest broadcasters at the BN Award last year or something crap?
I don't know.
Shit like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you ever get your award, your plaque for that?
No.
Really?
That was part of it. They tell you you get one, but you don't.
No.
It's like the stars.
We're the best podcast to listen to at 1.5 speed on your Apple product.
Better than half
through all this
speed.
Nonsense.
It gets exciting when you slow
talk about beer at just super slow speeds.
The aroma.
Pretty good. You should be a voiceover guy. The purpose and point of Dr. Homebrew is people like Phil here. If you're a homebrewer, you can either come into the studio, or contact me, JP at thebrewingnetwork.com, and send us your beer, and then we'll call you. We'll Skype you. We'll do whatever it takes to get you into the show.
Or wander in from the Hop Grenade with a pint of beer from the bar.
Hey, I found this. And we just talked about your beer. Brian and Lee are both master BJCP judges. I am not. And they fill out the score sheets. They do all this kind of stuff. We talk about it, and we give you feedback, and we let you ask the questions, the really hard-hitting questions. So, Phil, I'm assuming you have some hard-hitting questions for our judges today?
I do.
All right. So we're going to take a break real fast. We're going to come back. We're going to line up Phil. He has a Belgian Dubbel. A Doubly, right? Dublicon?
Dubbel.
All right. And then we're going to do one of our world-famous, and I say this with all earnest, world-famous, what is it called? Commercial calibration beer, an Oktoberfest Marzen from Paulaner. Paulaner.
We need a soundbite for that, like some like flashy sounding thing. Commercial calibration. Dr. Homebrew.
I'll put push right on it. You'll be like, really, guys? That'd be good. I'll do it.
That'll be it. Really, guys? Commercial calibration time.
And then that's it.
He'll just dub a bunch of stuff he's already done. Doctor, look, it's commercial calibration.
He could spend a night recording himself yawning deeply.
Oh, that'd be good.
You record my dog yawning. That's a good one, too.
There you go. Let's do that. Let's do that. Well, dogs are lame. So why are we doing the Paulaner? Because it's coming in the stores. You should be able to get it relatively fresh now.
Now.
Right? Right now. Go out and get it. Come back, listen to the show, and then you can kind of just calibrate your palate. We like to do this every now and then, and I think it's good. It's good to hear what master BJCP judges are tasting, and these are the guys who are tasting your beers, right? So you want to know how to get your palate kind of in line with them, or at least get the same vocabulary. So then when you're tasting some similar stuff, then you can go, oh, it's not that word. They use this word, and that kind of makes more sense. And so hopefully we can help out your judging skills as well. So let me see if I can figure out how to run this spot. And we're going to take a break, if all goes well, folks. And then we come back, we're going to talk with Phil and his Belgian Dubbel. Why won't this work?
Just run the spot, JP.
Will it do this? Let me see.
Just stroke the button
You
gently.
have to tickle it over there.
Yeah, well, I don't understand. So you have to, open the playlist and then you drag everything over like a dummy? Stupid. All right.
I sense an edit coming up for the podcast.
No, not at all.
Leave it in.
Justin, this new program sucks.
The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
Do you like beer? They make beer.
Watch out!
Do you like friends and fun? They make friends and fun.
Watch
Do
out!
you still like to have a good time? The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
The 21st Amendment in San Francisco, located at 563 2nd Street, 2 blocks from the building where baseball is seen and played. Try their beers in the pub or try them in the can, featuring
Monk's Blood.
Made with real monk.
Watch out!
So why not have the best time of your life? Go to the 21A and Sean O'Sullivan will personally greet you with a can of
Monk's Blood. The 21st Amendment.
Watch out!
This advertisement is not in any way affiliated nor associated with the 21st Amendment Bar and Pub, nor its subsidiaries or affiliates. This telecast is not copywritten by the 21st Amendment for the private use of the Brewing Network. Any use of this telecast without Jamil Zainashev's consent is prohibited. Suck it, JP.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing
skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small. Single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Now serving patient number 189. Number 189 to the counter, please.
Now back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We do have Phil in the studio, as promised. Phil with his Belgian Dubbel.
It's Phil Anselmo from Pantera, actually, I think. Isn't he?
I don't know. Maybe.
Heavy metal.
I don't think so, guys.
I was getting a little excited there.
Phil, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here.
Oh.
And I get to see these guys every now and then at some of the competitions around here.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
so
it was like the third time in the last week.
Yeah.
That's too bad for you.
NCHF, Oktoberfest.
No, all fun.
Here we are again.
All fine. Yeah, NCHF. That was a lot of fun.
Whew.
Yeah, here you guys had a blast. People recognized your voices. You got the whole "I know your voice" thing.
Yeah. Walk up to a booth, steal their beer, and they say, "Oh."
And then they want feedback.
I like your show. Give me some feedback on my beer. Here, taste them all. Yeah. Oh, nice lighting there.
It leads to a lot of midday naps.
I bet I can imagine there's a lot of people there napping during the midday.
Mostly on their feet.
A lot of people nap while listening to our show.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't fall asleep there. You'll miss all the action.
Right?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Like weird, like more homebrew being poured.
Homebrew being poured. Yeah, they had Jamil and Palmer up there talking on stage.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
A lot of people know it's a marathon, not a sprint. You hear that said quite a lot around there.
Oh, I can imagine. All right, Phil, how long you been homebrewing, man?
I've been brewing about, I'm going to say almost 5 years. And
Okay.
my wife's listening right now, so hi, Janelle.
Oh.
And it's all her fault because when we had spent almost a month in Europe, and I got to go to some great drinking establishments in Prague and places like Bruges and Amsterdam and up and down Germany and France. And this is before I brewed, but I came back with a renewed appreciation. And that Christmas under the tree, there was this cool little kit, and I totally jumped into it, and it was like that was it. So
nice.
I think that was my start. I think I did three extract, and my fourth, I read some books by a couple folks on your other shows.
Yeah.
And learned a lot real quick. There's an enormous amount of information on the webs, especially Brewing Network.
Oh, for sure,
and, and my fourth brew attempt was a triple decoction Doppelbock. I just figured, what the heck, just jump in hands over feet. And
what a nut bar.
And from there, it was I've probably brewed about 100 batches in the last 5 years. So
that's great.
So it's been pretty neat.
That's awesome, man.
Totally into it.
So, Belgian Dubbel. Have you done this style before?
This is my third attempt at this recipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the recipe from? Just make it up?
I cloned it with a couple of adjustments. I tweak it every now and then, but there's a book for sale. There's two guys who wrote the book, BCS. I call it, and it's got a lot of dog-eared pages.
Nice.
And yeah, those two guys were a couple of my heroes in the brewing world.
So you took it as a base style and kind of just made it your own.
That's right.
That's
in
good.
Fact, almost
I like
every beer I make comes right out of that. Those are base recipes for me.
Awesome.
That's worked wonderful.
Cool. And I imagine this is an all grain batch.
This is
right?
an all grain. I do 10 gallons now because my 7 or 8 hour brew day only had to grow by 45 minutes to make 10 gallons instead of 5. So
why
what
not?
the heck? Why not? You know?
Yeah, it's only 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who cares?
Yeah.
It's only your liver that has to work harder.
Right.
More to share, more to give away.
All right, Brian, why don't you start us off with Phil's beer here, man?
The Belgian Dubbel. Yes, in the aroma, they had a lot of cherry-like esters and fruity notes, possibly also from the malt, but just a lot of esters in general, some plum, cherry, and it also had a pretty strong phenolic component in there, peppery, kind of a medium white pepper whiff of that stuff in your nose there, and it's I would have liked a little more raisiny richness in here, but it didn't have any obvious bad stuff. No DMS, no buttery diacetyl, anything like that, acetaldehyde. So fairly clean ale ferment profile, Belgian ale profile with all the phenolics there and esters. The appearance was pretty nice. It had this kind of rich, reddish, pinkish amber color with a low beige colored head that faded pretty quickly to color fine bubbles. This is a pretty strong beer, so it can fade fairly quickly. This will just drop pretty quick. It's not 100% clear. There's a tiny bit of haze in there, but the appearance is pretty much where it needs to be. A little kind of it looks like a fruity beer just looking at it too. In the flavor,
I get that a little bit.
You get some rich cherry-like malt notes. And this was where the peppery phenolic kind of started taking over for me too. It was pretty high, and it started obscuring some of the other elements in there. It almost had kind of a smoky nature to it, and kind of intense phenolics. And you feel them going up into your nose a little bit, and it's like, wow, I have a campfire here going on. But smoke is another phenolic thing. As long as there's also medicinal phenolics and things like that. There was none of that in here. But a lot of the spicy ones and a lot of the peppery especially, but a little smoke too. Just the alcohol was definitely noticeable in the flavor, and it's pretty intense and a little bit on the harsh side, I have to say, but spicy, big alcohol in there, and you can definitely get that flavor.
Yeah.
The balance to me is towards the yeast. Some beers are malt balanced, some are hop balanced. This is all yeast character to me, and the malt's in there underneath that, supporting it, but it's big fruity and peppery flavors from the yeast and also from the malt playing together in there. And that just lingers right into the aftertaste. So, body-wise, it's pretty medium full body, medium to medium low carbonation, I would say. Fairly prominent alcohol warmth, though. It's really kind of attacking the back of my throat, and it does have a little bit of a astringency in there beneath that as well. Not a very creamy, smooth beer. It's a little much on the palate, but it's kind of where it needs to be for the style. So it's medium full and it's pretty intense. But this is just a little bit. This one turned to 11 somehow. A pretty nicely brewed overall, nicely brewed double with a lot going for it. It lacks that smooth, rich raisiny character I like in the best examples, and that rough heat and the phenolics, the really intense stuff there, are kind of distracting from the pleasure of it and taking over a little bit. To fix that, I would suggest adding, probably getting some of that stuff out of the way would let the raisiny character shine through a little more. But if not, add a little more special B. But I would definitely work on controlling your yeast early in the fermentation. Maybe start with a lower temp. Make sure you pitch plenty of it, and you can start with a lower temp and go higher later. Maybe you did that. We'll find out. But ensure an adequate yeast pitch from a big, healthy, viable yeast starter. And you could stand to dial back the ABV a touch on this too. This yeast is prone to kicking out some of those higher alcohols, so you really do have to be careful with it and take care of your yeast and keep it happy. So, but it's good and drinkable, just really intense. I couldn't find a lot of flaws in it other than the kind of alcohol harshness, but I gave it a 30. I thought it was a pretty nice beer in the very very good, I guess you could say, on the low end of the very good scale of things here. So
low end of very good is still better than not good.
It's better, yeah,
or something.
Yeah,
there's some wise phrase in there somewhere, Brian.
It's better than problematic, fair, or just regular good.
There you go. So our friend Pete DeDink in the chat room wants to know if those esters, the pepper and smoky, would they die down over time?
Ooh, good question, Pete. I'd like to know that answer too.
Brian,
he's waiting for them.
Yeah.
I think they may. The flavors are going to kind of meld as you let this age, especially with such a strong beer. Some of those intense things are going to break down a little bit. I think some of the higher alcohols might break down, but that's going to take a while. They might slowly turn into less solventy hot alcohols over time. But it's good question, Pete. Thanks. I think that phenolics going to stay there for quite a while. It's so intense.
All right, there you go. Lee, you're up, dude.
All right, yeah. So this beer, I got a lot of sweet-smelling malt in the nose with a ton of esters, like bruised peaches, some cherry, a lot. I mean, it's very ester dominant, I thought. Some peppery phenols in there with a smoky hint, no hops around, no diacetyl DMS. It was clean for all that. Some caramel, some bread crust, kind of low on the malt. So in the nose, really, it was very balanced to the esters and the phenols over the malt. And I mean, a classic double usually is going to present as a nice, not malty like a German Bock or something like that, but it's usually going to be fairly malt forward with a good balance with some esters and a little bit of phenols. For this one, I think the esters are kind of racing out in the lead here, and the phenols are close behind, and the malt's kind of taking a back seat to all that. So the balance, I think, was a little off on what you. I mean, all the aromas you'd want are there, but the balance is not quite where you want it to be for a good example of the style. Appearance is okay. Has a low head. It pretty much disappeared. These things, generally, the good ones have a nice moosey head that sticks around for a long time. Fairly hazy, at least when I had it first. It seems clearer now. I think the sample I've got now is warmed up, so it's possible there's a little chill haze in there. Not sure. Nice orange color, sort of on the lighter side for double, but that's fine. Flavor kind of reprises what's in the nose. A lot of sweet malt and caramel up front, and then just this big cherry and banana esters followed. And they kind of take over. A little bit of low spicy phenols in there that sort of grew over time. Seemed to have a little bit of that smoky character to it again. No hop aroma in there. Just enough bittering to balance the malt. Although it came across as a bit... It didn't quite balance the malt, actually. I thought it was a little bit in the sweet side for the balance. So it finishes sweet with a lot of lingering cherry and banana and some figs. They did get a little bit of that dark fruit in there. And some caramel and a lingering alcohol that sort of sat behind for a long time. Turned into a bit of a burn in the end. Not bad, but it's... I think the alcohols, some nice spicy character to the alcohols in these beers is very desirable. Getting into solventy and heat is not. And I think you're maybe putting a few toes over that threshold there. It's starting to get a little bit warm. For the body, medium low carbonation. I thought it could have been gassed up a bit higher. Alcohol warmth was medium, but definitely was getting some spicy and some bit of heat to it in the end. Not astringent, medium low creaminess. In the end, I kind of agree with what Brian said. It's a little too sweet. The esters and the phenols are kind of running over the malt flavor, so it doesn't balance out properly. The most obvious fix for that is going to be involving your yeast. So a bigger pitch, a lower starting ferment temperature, more oxygen, maybe yeast nutrition if you did anything like that. Other things that can do that in this style of beer is if you're adding some sugar in there, like some candy sugar or anything else, don't add it up front. Sometimes it's good to add that after the high krausen has started to fall off, because sometimes these yeasts will adapt to eating just the real simple sugars up front. And if you give it that up front, then they won't want to finish off the more complex sugars later. That is the problem. So sometimes you want to add those bigger sugars later.
That is a really good point.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wish
sure.
I had said that.
Yeah. Well, you can say that.
Well, you want to make sure
that
yeah. No, you say it.
Yeah, that's it. And if that doesn't dry it out enough, you can always drop the mash temperature a bit. But I would address the yeast first if you want to repeat this. I gave it 28 in the end. You know, it had a lot of the right stuff there. It just needs to have its balance fixed. Yeah. And to Pete's question, yeah. I think the esters will fade pretty quickly over time from the. And this is not an old beer, is it?
Not at all.
No. The esters
when did you brew this?
I brewed this about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the esters will probably fade out in another couple of months. Not all the way, but a lot of it. The phenols might stick around more. The alcohol will probably take a year or two to start converting into some other esters and other things. And then actually could get really interesting with the alcohols in this over time. So it might not hurt to sit on something. They'll bottle this up and sit on it for a year.
I'll be back in 2 years.
Yeah.
At 5 weeks, it already has a fair amount of complexity.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're on the right track.
Yeah, but if it dries out some more and those esters fade out, and some of that alcohol turns from heat into spicy or rose-like, or some of the things you can get when you let those sorts of alcohols age and esterify in a bottle, it could change its character and come out a lot better, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, my guess is this is strong enough you could probably age it a bit. Yeah, Phil's nodding.
Yeah, I'm waiting to jump in here. You guys are doing great with
Go
your
for it,
diagnostics.
Phil.
So
Yeah.
Go for it.
well, okay. So do you want to start with the
word.
recipe and the process?
Yeah, give us the
or-
recipe. Why not?
Okay. Well, it was just a tweak out of Brewing Classic Styles. I used 22. Again, this is a 10-gallon all grain, so 22 pounds of Pilsner, about 2.5 pounds of Munich, 1 pound of Special B, 1 pound of 20-degree aromatic, 1 pound of Cure Munich 60, and I had 1 pound of dark candy syrup, 60 degrees, and 1.5 pounds of cane sugar. All of that stuff went in the boil. So you guys nailed it on. I quite frankly, I've never done the sugar in fermentation before. I don't know if there's a special technique to that. I'm very sanitation conscious, so if you guys want to weigh in and tell the listeners, what's the best procedure to
I think
do
you
that?
just curse at it real loud.
You curse at it real loud and scare away all the bacteria, yeah. I've done that several times, and usually what I do is I'll boil up a syrup with whatever sugar that's going in there. As thick as I can get it so it'll still pour. Chill it down so it's about the same temperature as the beer. You can just do this in a pot and let it sit overnight to cool off, and then just pour it in. And usually you want to wait till the krausen has peaked and settled out a bit. You don't want it to be completely finishing out, but get it in after krausen has
like
started to
18,
fall.
24 hours, and
it depends
just
how
pour it on in
fast
there.
your ferment's going. But wait till the foam has peaked and is starting to drop off a
okay,
bit.
so that could be a day or two then.
A day or 2 or 3, depending, yeah, or 4. You could let it go a little later, just right after the peak. But I wouldn't wait till it's really starting to clear out.
Okay.
Then you can stagger those yeast feedings too, and just when you first see it going down, add a third of your sugars, add another third the next day or 2 days later, and add another third a day or two after that, and just keep it going. That'll keep the yeast like perked up and happy, and kind of keep that beer drying out a little more and smoothing out as it goes.
Okay.
Great.
You guys are blessed.
Yes.
Let's see. So I use Beersmith too. So I've got my well water. I'm on a well system. So I adjusted it to the Antwerp profile. Put it in. My mash was a rock solid 148 degrees, because some of my previous brews I've not valued the high body and the under attenuation. So I targeted towards the lower end of the mash.
Yeah, you should do that for this.
75-minute lauter, 90-minute boil. Again, everything went in at the boil. I used Tettnanger at 60 minutes and then 10 minutes. So 2.5 minutes at 60, half an ounce, or 2.5 ounces at 60, half an ounce at 10 minutes before knockout. In terms of yeast, I had just come off of a Belgian blonde, and I had a really nice yeast cake. So I grabbed a bunch of that. I washed it, and I put that in a big starter, a 5-liter starter. And then I had a couple of vials of, the high-gravity Trappist and the Belgian Abbey 2, I think, in this case. A couple of vials of that, and I created 2 2-liter starters. So I had a lot of yeast going into both fermenters.
You pitch those separately into different fermenters?
I did, yes.
Okay, and which one is this? Or do you blend them?
I think this is this is actually a blend. Yeah, so it's got like 3 different yeast varieties going on in there. So
did you notice if one of those 2 was drier or sweeter?
Well, the other one's still in secondary right now, so we'll have to find out later. Maybe at the next competition I'll bring some out for you guys. So at any rate, I thought, the starter was just rocking and rolling. It was bubbles coming up, stir plates going. So I had no doubt that the yeast was just going to munch away, and
Awesome.
they did to the most part. But I think, like Brian, what you said, the yeast attacked the easy sugars first, because I had all that simple cane sugar in the boil. Or I guess Lee said that.
I repeated it after Lee said it.
And
Brian said it too.
And then they got lazy, right? And then they just stopped munching away at the rest of the sugars. So
yeah,
that's the theory. And if that's what you did, it kind of seems like that's how it worked out here, because you certainly are describing a big enough yeast pitch. It should have handled this beer.
Yeah.
What was the OG on this?
So, the original gravity was 18.8. So what's that?
18.8?
Like 18.8 bricks. So It's like 1070
times 4 or whatever that is.
678, almost 1080.
Carry the odd.
Yeah,
It's
it's
about
pretty big double.
It's about math.
It's
I think
the upper end.
It's about
Yeah.
maths. I think
It's higher than JP can count.
Someone online can get out their calculator for us right
sure.
now
Right.
and send it back. So fermentation, I crashed it down to 66 degrees when I pitched, and the yeast and the wort were both at standard temperature there at 66. So I pitched it then. It took off like the next morning.
Yeah.
I probably pitched around 7 or 8 that evening, and the next morning when I got up, went down and looked, it was doing its thing. So the yeast were quite happy. Those yeasty boys were just really going. In fact, on one of them, I had a serious blow off. I experimented with, I think, a little bit of polyclare in one and not in the other, just to see. So one of them had a big blow off, and the other didn't. So I had a big mess on my hands. That's always fun to clean up in your big chest freezer.
It happens.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
and then I've got a 2-stage temperature control system. So I got a room air conditioning in my chest freezer and thermal blankets sitting around each carboy. So I had pretty good temperature control. I can maintain less than 1 degree difference from target. And after about 4 or 5 days, I kicked it up a degree a day. And after 10 days, I locked in at I think I ended up 72 degrees. But on this, and I think this is where the spiciness and the phenols and the alcohol comes in, and a little bit of the harshness. We took our kids up to Apple Hill one afternoon, and I decided I was going to rack it into the keg that evening. So I pulled the keg out, or the carboy out of the freezer where it was under temperature control, and just let it sit because I wanted things to settle. And in our kitchen during the day, it ran up to like 77, 78 degrees. So I think it sat at that temperature, hit ambient about 78, 79 degrees by the time we got home that evening. And I think that's what may have caused the yeast to go fusel, and maybe contributed some others. But
at that stage of the game, I don't think so, right?
Usually, I mean, the word out there these days is more or less that most of the production of fusels and esters and probably phenols is going on in the early part of your ferment.
Okay. First,
and you kept that at 66 for a few days?
I did for probably 4 days.
Wow, which is kind of weird that it comes out so ferment forward. Like
was that 66 ambient, or was that did you have a probe inside your fermentation vessel?
That was with a thermal well.
Thermal well.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just want to blame your kids for your beer going south there.
I would, personally.
Yeah.
I'll blame your kids for you. That way there's no blood in your hands.
Then they were mucking around in the beer, and
Right, then you can make them drink it.
So it's possible that maybe I thought there was plenty of yeast. The yeast looks super active.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confounded here on.
So I don't know exactly how the dynamics of this would work, but I mean, if it's that sugar thing and the yeast just sort of stopped eating big sugars and ran out of simple sugars and tried to eat the other stuff, they might have stressed out again at that point. But that's frankly a flat out guess.
We got to do actual work now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I would have thought most of those kind of flavors would have come in the first couple days, and if it got too hot, well, the other options are there was maybe not enough oxygen, or it was under pitch, or the yeast wasn't healthy enough.
Okay, so I did oxygenate.
Nutrition problems.
I used a metal center stone. I oxygenate it for like 2-3 minutes off of one of those small O2 bottles that you get at the hardware store, and I do that, right after I pitch.
Yeah. Or you overpitched.
Maybe I over-oxygenated. Who knows?
Over-oxygenated.
The other thing is, this beer is just pretty young. I mean,
that's hard, right?
Might just be might be kind of green too.
Does it taste different than it did a week or so ago when you first?
I had some over the weekend. After you guys convinced me to come in here today, I said, well, should I really bring it in or not? And I got a little, when it warmed up, I got a little acetaldehyde, and I still get a little bit, and I'm hunting for I had to hunt for it. The
I don't
diacetyl,
really get it.
I get a hint of diacetyl, but it's in deep background. It's straight butter, but it's really hard to. I mean, I'm diacetyl sensitive, so
it's going away. You look like a sensitive man.
Thank you.
It's going away though. So it is kind of changing. Yeah,
I think it's remetabolizing. Or
don't taste it for like 6 months. And then listen to the show. Pour yourself a pint and listen to the show. See what happens.
I'd be
curious.
I'll be back.
More time.
Yeah.
When you decided to keg this, it sounds like you said today's the day, and you pulled it out and let it warm up.
Yeah.
Was it still fermenting at all? Did it have any bubbling going, or was it totally stopped?
I saw very, very minor bubble rise.
Right. What was the terminal gravity?
What was the terminal gravity? 4.9. Down from 18.8, so it was.
That's almost 20, isn't it?
20-ish, yeah.
That's pretty high for a double, especially with some sugar in there.
One of those, like 16 or so, I think.
Oh, I mean, these things, with the sugar, they can go down below 10 easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, although it was a high start. Maybe it wouldn't go all that way, but 20 seems high.
1008 to 1018 are the vital
so
stats.
It's a little sweet.
Yeah, I think you probably didn't quite finish out. So your yeast hit a wall here.
It's like, we're being kegged? What?
so that's what I got, and that's why I didn't rack the second carboy right into the keg. It's actually
probably smart.
It's just sitting there right now.
That's going to be the nice one.
Right.
Do you do any yeast nutrient additives during fermentation?
Not during fermentation, but for the starter, I always do that.
You might try doing that. Fermaid K is a real good one that's used a lot in the wine industry, and a lot of beer folks use it too. So after a third of your sugar drop, you just throw a little pinch or two in.
Never tried that.
Yeah,
I've done it with mead and cider, but not in beer. So
check it out.
You use it when you actually brew beer,
right? Yeah,
it does the same thing with meads. It just keeps that yeast growing and keeps it happy. Yeah,
just gives them that extra oomph, enough food to cruise on.
Yeah.
Any more questions for the guys, Phil, or are you done?
I think I'm done. I think you guys nailed it.
Cool.
Thank you. Great feedback.
Thanks, man.
You did a lot of things right, and it definitely sounds like you know what you're doing. You got a really good setup. You got a big 10-gallon system with nice temperature control and everything, and made a big starter like you should. So, I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes it just happens, but every fermentation is a different animal.
That's true. All right, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. We're going to take a break. We're up against that break wall. And then when we come back, we're going to do our commercial calibration of the Oktoberfest Marzen from Paulaner. Hang tight. We'll be right back.
As a brewer, you already don't settle for second best. You want great tasting beer and you want great equipment to make it with. So don't settle for the second best grain mill. You want a monster mill from Monster Brewing Hardware. Monster mills are tough, come in 2 and 3 roller designs, and are made right here in the USA from superior materials for longer lasting performance. Pick the mill that's right for you at monsterbrewinghardware.com and take Bevo's advice.
Trust me, it's always better to have a bigger tool than you think you need.
Monster mills have the best warranty in the business. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit monsterbrewinghardware.com now and check out all the mills and mill accessories. Don't settle for second best. Get a monster mill from Monster Brewing Hardware.
Have you ever dreamed of attending the World Brewing Academy? This year, thanks to Lallemand and Danstar, one lucky brewer will make that dream a reality for free. Lallemand and Danstar invite you to enter the Beer School 2015 contest. One lucky grand prize winner will receive fully paid tuition to the 2015 World Brewing Academy web-based concise course in brewing technology worth almost $4,000. From now until December 13th, 2014, every Danstar yeast packet you use is your ticket to enter. Visit danstaryeast.com for the details and to print your official entry form. There's no limit on the number of times you can enter, so get brewing with Danstar and get your entries in to the Danstar 2015 Beer School Contest. Whether you want to build your home brewing skills or build a career as a professional brewer, this course will change the way you think of beer and brewing. Enter at danstaryeast.com and get the dry yeast advantage with Danstar and Lallemand Premium Brewing Yeast, and enter to win.
Hey, dude, you know what beer this is?
Oh, no, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water-resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com.
All right, welcome back. It is the finale of
sounds
Dr.
like
Homebrew.
Armageddon in here.
Well, it is. It's Beer Armageddon, and that's what we like to do around here.
Beer-mageddon.
That's right. Beer Armageddon.
I'm getting some beer.
Well, Phil's still here, so I don't think we offended him too much.
No, I'm listening.
He's waiting around to go postal later after the show.
Entertaining and educational, yeah.
If we say mean, crappy things about his beer in a nice enough tone and with a little humor interspersed, people just stick around and listen to us anyway.
Right? Why wouldn't they? Before we jump into the second beer here, how about a moment for the fine folks over at the American Homebrewers Association? If you are into beer as much as I think you are, why wouldn't you be? Because you're listening to this show, and you aren't a member of the AHA, something is very, very wrong with you. Becoming an AHA member gets you tons of great stuff, access to Zymergy magazine, loads of brewing tips and tricks over on their website, not to mention letting you enter into the greatest homebrewing competition of all time, the National Homebrewers Competition. So check them out, AHA. They do a lot of great things for homebrewing. They do a lot of great things for the Brewing Network. They do a lot of great things for you. Please head on over to American Homebrewer Association and become a member today. Protect our homebrewing rights. Now that's a pop. So, okay, we have this beer. It's the Oktoberfest Marzen from Paulaner, and this is one of our commercial calibration series. And thank you very much for those of you who are giving us great feedback on these. We've actually had a couple folks write in that say that they're studying for the BGCP exam, and they use some of our commercial calibrations as a way to study. So that's pretty cool. And that's really what this is all about. It's just kind of getting everyone's palates on the same plane.
Right. And you can read the BJCP style guidelines on this. Just download the app on your smart or dumb phone, whatever the case may be, and read up. It gives you what you should be getting on the aroma, superior, and flavor and all of that. But
and check it out. I mean, every liquor store everywhere that I've ever seen usually has some of this stuff around this time. So go and grab yourself a bottle. It should be relatively fresh. Does it have any sort of date code on there, Lee, that you can see? 515
L13841V.
There you go. A V, everybody. That's the one we're working on.
Vapid.
This beer is best before 515, huh? Okay.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is one beer that goes back to one person, actually, in Germany. The origin is credited to Gabriel Sedlmayr, and it came from an adaptation of the Vienna style.
Well, we actually have a history on this beer.
We do.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Vienna
come on.
styles
Doctors need to take a history on their patient.
was developed by another one guy, Anton Dreyer. So there's these two dudes that have huge influence on all this beer, and there's so much of it still brewed. But one of the things that Jamil says in his book that I find pretty appropriate is this beer is a lot about the finish. It needs to finish dry enough so you can drink it in mass quantities. It's often served by the liter, and it should never be cloying or too full, in the immortal words of Jamil. Or, well, I don't think John Palmer wrote that. Did he? I don't know.
It could be. I think Palmer wrote a lot of the intros and stuff.
Who wrote the copy on this stuff? Yeah. They did a really good job of kind of boiling the essence down of the beers in the book Brewing Classic Styles to what it's really about and what the essence of the beer is. So read those descriptions, too, as part of your beer education if you're studying to be a judge. So, okay, here we go. Paulaner Oktoberfest Marzen.
Right.
Is Lee going to start us off talking about this one?
Yeah, Lee's going to start us off. We put Brian on the hot chair.
I just started talking for no reason.
That's right.
We'll let him talk.
That's fine. No, that's how things happen. So, where are we? Paulaner Oktoberfest. So,
good or bad, things happen.
Yes.
I love this beer. I'm glad you guys chose this beer.
Awesome. Excellent. Fabulous. So, what is it? What is an Oktoberfest? It is a toasty, malty, malt-forward beer that's all about malt. It's got enough hops just to make it balance, just to keep it from getting sweet and cloying. You want to have a dry finish, like you said, and we'll have lots of toasty flavor. Should have a very clean lager ferment. Maybe a little bit of sulfur is okay, but generally you don't want that in there. Not for the better example. So really it should have a nice soft palate, finish dry, and you can drink it by the liter and not feel like you're drinking sugar water and get all bloated and filled up before you fall over drunk. So that's kind of what this is. Most of the versions of this you get in Germany now, especially if you actually go to the Oktoberfest, or paler golden color versions of this beer. But the classic export styles like we've got here are the ones that are still the sort of nice light copper amber color. Mm-hmm. That's the traditional method of.
If you want to try like the lighter version of it, go for the like Hofbrau version. And that's more like what I would call a fest beer. But this is more like I would call it an Oktoberfest Marzen, like the Marzen side of things.
And hearing the style, as we do in the beer world, I kind of forget how actually light it is. I think of it as a much darker beer than this kind of light copper, light amber.
Yeah, you can get them a little darker than this. This is not one of the darkest ones, but yeah.
Oh, Brian.
Party foul.
Do you have any napkins?
Party foul.
Get on that, Phil, would you? I'm sure there might be towels in the office. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Phil's all over it.
Thanks, Phil.
All right. So anyways, what do we get in this beer? So to be upfront about it all, me and Brian bought bottles of this separately, probably 40 miles apart, and judged them separately at home and came in. So the bottles we had were different. So we got slightly different results on these. So for me, I got medium-high malt aroma, toasty melanoidin with an almost candy-like orangey sweetness. Threshold noble hop spiciness, no DMS diacetyl, a touch of sulfur in the nose. So pretty decent, not fabulous. I thought it was a little high in the sulfur, a little low in the malt in the nose. Pours a moderate off-white, mostly fine foam. Fades slowly to a light cover. Could have had better head retention. Brilliant pale orange. That looks very much to style. The color and the clarity of it. For the flavor, toasty melanoidin malt was medium-high with a clean, firm, supporting bittering and a medium hop flavor of sort of a spicy, floral, lavender, noble kind of hop character. Balance was definitely to the malt, but not by a huge amount. For me, I think the hops were coming through a little more than I would have expected in a beer like this. Slight papery oxidation note I picked up, so my bottle might not have been the best treated.
Which one are we drinking right now, yours or Brian's?
So what I'm describing is the one that I had. Yeah, which is different from the one Brian had. The one we're drinking now was the one Brian bought.
Okay.
So that should be more similar to his.
Just want to make sure that I'm not or tasting things that I'm not supposed to be or am.
You can hallucinate all you want, but I'm describing what I had the other night.
Perfect.
Right. We won't stop you. Yes. A little bit of oxidation, that kind of orangey candy flavor, which I'm not sure why it's there. It might have been from the Munich malt. I've noticed some Munich malts would get a bit of a candy kind of flavor to them. Mm-hmm. Friend or two of mine sometimes describe them as tasting like Skittles, although generally he picks that up in the American Munich malt, which I'm pretty sure Paulaner should not be using, but you never know. Finishes dry. I wouldn't think they'd be using
that. Wouldn't that be a trip?
Yeah,
we're importing all this
American malt to make their Oktoberfest. Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure.
Why not?
Finishes dry with lingering toasty malt, some spicy floral hops, slight lingering tartness, I found. A little bit of a mineral notes, probably slightly carbonate water here. Mm-hmm. Body and the carbonation were medium. It wasn't hot or warming. It was moderately creamy, no astringent. A little tang of acidity in the finish I thought was a little out of character. This should just have a nice, soft, wonderful malt-forward palate to it, so there shouldn't be any acidity in there at all. So I'm not really sure why that was there. Overall, I thought it was a decent drinker with some nice malt and hop flavors, an absence of DMS or diacetyl. The malt seemed a little bit more restrained than in the best examples of this I've had. And I've had Paulaner that's been better, so I think whatever the bottle I got probably wasn't the best in the world, although it should be reasonably fresh this time of year.
Yeah, you would think so. But that's good that you didn't, because in a way, because you're kind of describing what an off bottle would taste like.
Yeah.
Or a mistreated bottle.
Which now is harder for our listeners to match, but, you know.
Right.
Well, yeah. It tasted to me like it was a little bit old. Although the weird thing, and actually that meshes a little bit of paper I got, the weird thing was that the hops seemed very forward. Mm-hmm. Which you wouldn't expect in an older beer, that the malt would fade faster than the hops. It's possible, though, and thinking back to some of the comments Brian had about his beer, that I might have been been letting some synergy with sulfur and hops get the better of me, and it might have been some sulfur I was picking up, too.
Huh. Would the hops...
With sort of that spicy lavendery hops, can kind of blend in a bit. Okay. I might have missed that. You never know. I didn't, but I might have. Yeah.
Would the hop flavor fade before the malt, right? Especially in a beer like that?
Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, both can fade. And I mean, these yeast-free bottled lagers don't have a great shelf life usually.
Right.
So you never know.
Okay.
I gave it a 31. I thought it was all right. I've had better Paulaners. I've definitely had better fest beers. Brian?
Yeah.
Are we
And
okay now?
Just yes, I've cleaned up the beer spill.
Great.
I'm gesturing wildly. It's not a good thing. One more point of history on this beer, though. The reason they call it a Marzen, it's brewed in the spring around the end of their traditional brewing season. März is the German March, and they call it a Marzen. And they store it in the caves basically to lager it over the summer, cold caves or cellars in the warm summer months, and then they break it out for the big parties in the fall.
Yeah.
So, September rolls around, they're breaking out the Marzen. So that's why it's called that. So just a little
awesome
fun history.
Have you guys ever brewed this style before?
I have brewed an Oktoberfest, and it sucked.
I've done a few.
It was my first lager.
Yeah?
But it was okay. But yeah, just wasn't the best. This one has the aroma has a rich toasted malt aroma. I found a little bit of sulfur in there, but nothing too offensive. Very, very faint hop. A little light spiciness in there. No esters. No DMS or diacetyl. It was bready. It has like these bread crust-like flavors or aromas to it. Nice and clean lager character and smells inviting. And a beautiful beer. Brilliantly clear amber color beer with the kind of these burnished orange highlights, and it has this low off-white head that sticks around for a nice while if you don't spill your beer all over the table.
Who would do such a thing?
And the flavor, who would do such a thing? It has a pleasant...
you might need a splash shield in front of the electronics for the show.
Really nice, pleasant malt balanced profile with the classic Munich and Vienna, the bready bread crust kind of flavors in harmony with each other. The hop bitterness is kind of medium low, just enough to support and give it a little crispness, kind of an edge, along with that dry, fairly dry finish. It finishes semi-dry, but just leaves a hint of that malty sweetness there to linger on your tongue and keep you wanting a little bit more out of that Moschstein that you're carrying around the beer hall. Clean lager ferment, just really wonderfully clean overall, I thought. The bottle I had seemed pretty nice, and Lee, you can help me out here if you think this bottle was better than yours. Actually, I think you have a bottle of yours here.
Say B. Yeah, I do.
Then we should try that.
Yeah,
I
let's
want to
crack
taste
it open.
yours. Body-wise, pretty much what Lee said, medium-bodied, smooth on the palate. I didn't get any astringency, creamy, no intense warmth. It's like a 5.8% beer. There's a little hint of warmth in the very back of the throat, but not anything intense, and medium carbonation. I really thought this was a wonderful beer, wonderful drinking Oktoberfest if you get it fresh this season, this time of year, and I love this time of year. Had all the expected elements I wanted. You could slightly reduce that kind of sulfury note I got in the aroma with a little bit of more extended lagering. They might be pushing it out, pretty fast to get it out for the fests, but I think Paulaner does a pretty good job, and there's other Oktoberfests that are equally nice, but this is one of the finest. Well-made beer, lovely. I gave it a 43. So, thank you. And this is Lee's bottle. Let's see.
Yeah.
It is slightly muted, that's for sure. There is kind of a funkiness to it, or
it's a little warmer than Brian's was too.
It's a little metallic, maybe a little. I get kind of that tartness that you were talking about up front. I want to say sour, but not sour, like the tart edge of sour. If that makes sense.
It's like just the pH is touched too low here, and I was getting a little bit of papery oxidation in this, which is. It's harder. It sort of comes through in the finish here. This one.
I do get a little paper.
Probably 10 degrees warmer than the one Brian just poured, actually.
Interesting.
But you're getting that paper?
Yeah.
It's not as good. Phil?
You want to try some not as good beer?
Not as good Oktoberfest.
Okay,
right.
Thanks.
And mine came from a 6-pack, dug from the very back of a dark shelf, and this one came from you bought yours
single bottles in a slider rack sort of thing.
Line of single bottles, but in a
show off
reputable beer shop. It sounds
like a very reputable beer shop with good beer friendly lighting.
Yeah. All right, is that it for our commercial calibration?
I think so.
Are there any questions from the listeners or the chat?
Nope.
No, from you.
They don't care about Oktoberfest.
I've asked all my questions. Yeah,
malty, toasty, drying in the finish.
How would you go about making that? Would you do a double decoction? Would you do an extended?
I mean, classic recipes for this, you could go anywhere from all Munich or 50-50 Munich Vienna or Munich and Vienna or Vienna plus some Pils malt. Mm-hmm. Decoction would be very, very welcome if you want to go to those lengths. You can make it without, but you'll get better expression on the malt with it. I'd go for a double if you can. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, or triple would be over the top, but it might make it taste better. And you want to get a very, very nice, clean lager ferment on this. So really give it a good pitch.
And a beta mash, like below 150, 147, 148.
Yeah, there, and then probably finish out at like a 158 or something to turn the last little bit. And then classically, you would probably want to even mash out on this so you didn't get it too dry. Because you do want some residual dextrins in this. You just don't want it to be unfermented.
Yeah, I think if you go too crazy on the decoctions too, and they probably do triple decoction on these. I don't know, but
not these days.
Maybe a double. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna start bordering on that kind of traditional Bach kind of territory, and you really don't want it to go there. You don't want to get too heavy on the melanoidins. You want to keep that toasty, pleasant thing in there without rounding it out with a bunch of melanoidins from your decoction.
To be a little more on the clean side, as far as your profile goes. Right?
Yeah. And actually for the mash, I maybe shoot a little higher in 148, like 152, maybe even 154. So you leave some residual dextrins behind, but you don't want it sweet. So you want to make sure the ferment really finishes out all the residual sugars in there.
Okay,
maybe 150, but I mean somewhere in there. But make sure your ferment's going to completion.
Basically, we just said 148 to 154.
Right. But tighten it up to the middle of that.
Low 150s.
I'd go for the middle of that, 150, 152.
151.
And give it a good pitch. Nice low temperature, like 45, 50, something like that. Yeah. And when it gets to the end, raise it up, do that diacetyl rest, hold it there for a day or 4. Make sure it finishes out and lager it. I think the classic lagering is as cold as you can get it without freezing it. For what is it? It's a week for every 4 degrees, so probably 10 to 12 weeks for one of these.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, maybe a little longer if you're making it on the big side for a fest beer. Yeah, well, put it down in March, drink it in September, October.
Yeah. Good German, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do that next year.
Yeah, over at JP's house.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right.
He has a nice cellar, right?
Oh, yeah, I have a cellar, sure. I'll dig a hole in the backyard, it'll be fine.
Right.
All right. Oh, sorry. Turn my mic off so I can cough. Okay. Well, if that's it for our commercial calibration, thanks, boys, for bringing that beer in.
All right, Dad.
And doing that whole kind of thing. Now, make sure to brush your teeth before you go to bed. Before we scram, let's see. Make sure I got all my stuff. I do want to tell you about, in case you're new to the Brewing Network for whatever reason, or you're looking for some more beer radio, check out our other great shows like Brewing with Style. Hosted by Jamul, the aforementioned Jamul, Tasty, and Chicken Boy himself, Mr. John Plissé, making his triumphant return to the Brewing Network. Check it out on iTunes. Head over to the homepage and click on The Jamil Show for all of the Brewing with Style episodes. There you go. That's it. We're almost out of here. Our friends at 5 Star Chemicals will be sending you something special in the mail soon. Phil, appreciate it. Oh, and since we didn't have another guest, the Grog Tag, At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate.
Lowest scoring award automatically
goes to Phil. All right. So, Phil, you'll be getting a $40 gift certificate to grogtag.com where you can make your customized, reusable, waterproof, right-on, offable labels.
I can't wait.
They also do bottle caps and metal signs and coasters. And actually, the guys at GrogTag just launched a new website called Crush Tag. So if any winemakers out there, they have special designs just for that section. They have different actual products. They have a kind of a full wrap label going on, some more kind of wine-themed stuff. So check them out, crushtag.com. Just launched, totally cool, and totally reusable. All right, now I think we're finally done.
Are we going to wrap up, though?
Oh, I forgot the wrap up. All right, let's do it real fast. You got a minute and a half.
Okay, Phil's beer was pretty good. I liked it. I think it needs to age out a little bit more, and it had some slight heaviness on the phenolic and the alcohol. But some of that stuff's going to age out. Let's drink it in 6 months.
All right, Lee, go.
Yeah, a little better yeast ferment. Otherwise, it was fine.
All right, I'll bring it back in 6 months, and let's do it again.
Yeah.
All right, see, that was
done.
good.
We're out.
How come that takes a whole segment when we do it normally? Oh, because we have another beer?
Because we talk too slow. And the Oktoberfest, I agree. Lee's bottle sucked. No, it didn't suck. It still tasted good.
It
had a little bit of oxidation starting in. The bottle I brought was, of course, quite wonderful. And
marvelous. Yes. It was
great.
fabulous.
You
It
did
was
great
malty.
taking that bottle.
Can I get a plug in for my fellow Greenbelt Brewer
Yeah,
Association
please do.
guys?
You got about 15
there you
seconds.
Go. Well, I think they're great, so I
All
just
right.
thought I'd plug GBA. Thank you,
And
guys.
if you are in the Livermore area, going at the 8 Bridges Brewery on Saturday, October 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m., check out Brian's birthday party at the 8 Bridges Brewery, which I don't even know. I had no idea that even existed. Facebook.com/Better Days Rock. Apparently, this band called Better Days is going to be playing there. Is that? Are you doing
That's
anything
my,
with them?
And it's
my
this
cover
brand.
band. Yeah, that's my birthday party.
Yeah,
and it's a buddy of mine from the Madsheimer just started that brewery, and Justin. So and they helped us out with Oktoberfest as well. We just kind of chatted about having my band out there. There we go.
Perfect. Great.
We're
Love
doing it.
Love it. Love it. Go wish Brian happy birthday. And from all of us here at Dr. Homebrew, take it easy, folks.